on Facebook at Doctors War. Hey guys, we're about to start right now with our radio show, and I'll be going on tonight. So get ready. We're going to be talking about thyroid issues. We always need a reminder as to why our loved ones and even ourselves are not getting well. Good evening, everyone. This is the Wellness Radio. I was going to say good morning. I'm used to saying that. We are usually here every Saturday from 10 to 11, and now we will be here consistently every Tuesday from 7 to 8. So guys, if this is your first time tuning in, I am Dr. Rebecca Warren. I'm usually here with Dr. Nathan Warren, but you know, our purpose, we have a health center located here in Chattanooga, and our purpose is to equip you, to give you the information, the right information about what it looks like to get well, no matter what you have going on, whether it's headaches, whether it's, you know, hormone issues, testosterone, estrogen issues, whether thyroid issues, whether gut issues, skin issues, pain, migraine, headaches. Our purpose is for you to understand that, listen, gone are the days where you can just not try to do something with your health and live to 100. I always hear, well, you know, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, you know, they lived to 100 and they didn't have to think about organic food. They didn't have to think twice about eating, you know, grass-fed beef. They just did life and they lived to 100. But the problem is that we're living in a sicker world. Our food is, most of the food you guys are eating is not even recognizable food. And so our purpose is to make sure you understand that, number one, unless you're doing something different, you're just going to end up like everyone else. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes. I mean, the insane thing is that, you know, life expectancy every year keeps on going down. Why? Because of opioids. And this is the crazy thing. We talked about opioids, like we've had this, our Saturday radio show for years, and it was before they declared a crisis on opioids, and we would talk about how covering up pain symptoms, pain is a red flag that something is going on, and just taking a pill to cover that up is never getting down to the cause. So guys, we give you the right information, the research-based information, and then we challenge you to do something about it. Whether you listen to this and then you go home and you start implementing stuff that we talk about, whether you go to our Facebook page, you like us, you can find us on Facebook at Doctors Warren, or we give you the opportunity to come into the office and get yourself checked. And so today, what I'm going to be talking about is why finally getting a dysfunctional thyroid diagnosed does not mean you're actually going to get well. So why finally getting a diagnosis in regards to your thyroid issues does not mean you are going to get well. And for a lot of you, doesn't mean that you're going to stay well. You know, when you have hypothyroid, and even if people have been hyperthyroid for a really long time, you are unable to lose weight no matter how much you try. You can eat like a bird, you can exercise, or for a lot of people, they notice that I haven't changed anything and I've gained weight and I can't lose it. You're feeling fatigued, you're feeling tired, you're feeling emotional, you suffer with anxiety or you suffer with depression. Even if you have so much to be thankful for, you still have, it's really hard for you to handle your workload every single day. You're in pain. You know, you can have these symptoms, you can have all of them, you can have some of them. You have foggy brain, you can't think clearly, you forget things, you go into a room and you don't remember, you know, what you went in there for. The crazy thing is that the men and women that come into my office, the crazy thing is a majority of them are already on thyroid medication and still having these symptoms. I mean, that just means that congratulations, now you have a name that you can get a pill for. Let's just be honest with that. A lot of the point of diagnosing something is to now you have a pill for it. Now you have this name and now you got a pill for it. And that's why I see a lot of people, they also end up with, like, you know, antidepressants for fibromyalgia. So why is it that when you finally get diagnosed with a dysfunctional thyroid, why is it that you're not getting well? Well, this is why. Because a dysfunctional thyroid comes from a dysfunctional body. All right? Listen, your body, your thyroid doesn't decide one day, hey, I'm just going to up and quit. That's not what happens. However, that's pretty much how it's treated. When you have low hormones, doctors will look at that and say, oh, you have low hormones, let's give you some hormones. Not, why did you stop producing hormones? And that's insane. That's like saying, hey, I have a hole in my gas tank and my gas is leaking out, and the mechanic says, yeah, this is exactly what you have to do. You have to fill up your tank with gas more often. That's how you handle this gas problem. I know it's leaking out, but the answer is to put more gas in. So instead of filling up your gas tank every day or every few days, you got to fill it up every 2 hours. You would think that was the worst stinking mechanic in the world, and yet you're going to medical doctors, you're going to endocrinologists, you're seeing people in Vanderbilt that are looking at you and saying, oh, well, let's just put some hormones in you, and you like them because they're nice, and yet you are not well. Guys, that is not getting just on hormone medication for thyroid issues. That's not how you're going to get well. And then what I see is that when I'm coaching people that have been diagnosed with a thyroid disorder for years, maybe even decades, they find themselves needing more and more medication. And the crazy thing is this: if you're a husband and you know this about your wife, if you hear me say, hey, I have a practice member that I'm helping get well, and in the last 20, 30 years, she has increased to the highest dose, and you think, oh, well, I haven't increased my dosage in forever. Yeah, it's probably because you're hypo. It's probably because you're not even on the right dose. I don't prescribe medication. I can't tell you what to do. I actually, work together. I actually refer out to this really amazing nurse practitioner here in Chattanooga. She controls the medication. But what happens is when people start to get well, they need less of it. And so the problem is with that, listen, your thyroid is sick. And unless you find out what caused a sick thyroid, you're never going to get well. And the worst thing that can happen is having a sick thyroid, and they go in and say it's so bad, or it's growing, or you have nodules, and they go in and say, let's cut it out and let's radiate it. And I hear so many opinions about that. I hear people that are so excited to get it taken out because, hey, they have all these issues. And if you think, oh, that's not going to be me, well, if you get sick enough, if you grow nodules, if your thyroid is growing, that will be you. And that is just ridiculous. That our answer to a lot of serious illnesses in our body is to cut out organs. That's insane. At 19 years old, that was the answer for me. At 19, my thyroid was growing, and the truth is, when I went to go get diagnosed for this thyroid issue I was having, I didn't even know what the thyroid was. I didn't even know I had an issue. I felt fine. But then my medical doctor, that was 15 years ago, told me, you've got thyroid cancer. And then he tells me, oh yeah, but if there's a good cancer to have, this is the one, which is insane. And the problem is this: they say, hey, it's easy, it's good because you can cut out a thyroid. It's insane that all of these doctors that don't know the research think it's so easy to handle thyroid issues by putting you on a pill. So what they're saying is this vital organ that you were created to have, to function at 100%, this vital organ that every trillion of your cells in your body needs, that your brain needs healthy, that your digestive system needs healthy, that everything in your body needs to be healthy. They're saying, I've got it taken care of because this pill that I'm about to prescribe to you is just as good as this living organ that changes day to day. They're saying that medicine has just, been just as good as our creator, and that a pill can make up for what you have going on. And the problem is this, when they cut out my thyroid, at first I was like, well, cool, I lost some weight, this is great. And then it was years of suffering, because what made my thyroid sick was still making my body sick. And guess what thyroid hormones also works with? Sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. All of these women that have PCOS or endometriosis, or you don't even have a diagnosis, and you've had horrible cycles throughout your life, whether they're painful, whether they're long, whether they're heavy, and then they go through menopause and they have all these crazy hot flashes and these symptoms that are not normal. They're common, but they're not normal, guys. So why is it that when you finally get diagnosed with a thyroid issue and you don't actually get well, is because you never get to the cause. If you know you have a thyroid issue, if you're on thyroid medication, which by the way, it's, I'm pretty sure top 2, it was top, but I think it's now top 2nd. Most prescribed medication is Thyroid. The reason why is because you're not getting to the cause. And so we are going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about what you need to understand, what is all involved in your hormone production, your T3, your T4, and your T3, what you need to look for, but also why your liver, your digestive system, why your uterus and your ovaries, why all of them, if they are not well, they'll affect your thyroid, and why your thyroid, if it's not well, will affect those things. You're not a separate system. So guys, if this is your first time tuning in, I know a lot of people will be driving and listening. If you're driving and you're like, man, I want to know more information about this, you can go onto our Facebook page, Doctors Warren, I am live, and I'll be live for the next hour. You can come back and watch us, so make sure to like us. And if you guys are listening to this and you're like, man, I need help. I've been wondering why I don't feel well, why I still can't lose weight, why I'm tired, why I have menopausal symptoms or hot flashes, why I can't sleep at night, why is it that I feel like maybe I'm not well. Guys, I want to go ahead and extend, every radio show on Saturday, we set apart appointment times, and I've set apart 3 this evening for a thyroid consult with me. And so what that looks like, it's a whole body approach to why your thyroid is not well. So it's all necessary imaging. I look at neural function. I look at nutritional deficiency. I look at possibility of toxicities, which we'll touch on this radio show. And then we look at your past history. Because the truth is, unless you have a doctor that has looked at the last 10, 20, 30 years of your life, then you're never going to find what causes it. So if you'd like that appointment time, and I know husbands, they'll listen to this. I've had so many dads and husbands that have called in to the office for their loved ones. Give us a call, and the girls can set up an appointment time for you guys in the office. I only have 3. That number is 423-362-5360. Again, that's 423-362-5360. This is the Wellness Radio. When we come back, we're going to talk about the liver, the digestive system, and your ovaries, and why those things, if you're not working there, you're never going to get well with your thyroid health. We'll see you right after the break. Hey guys, so thank you for tuning in. I know it's late at night, so listen, so the one thing I want people to understand, that the reason why you're not getting well if you're getting diagnosed with a thyroid issue is because there's so much more that goes into hormone production, and that goes into, using that hormone. When someone comes into the office, I draw out, if they feel like they're ready to actually learn about their bodies, I'll draw out every process that's involved with producing the hormone and then converting the hormone. And so the problem is, I find, is that medical doctors are working off of outdated information. And let me go ahead and tell you this, it's not just that they're working off of outdated information, is really, even if the research is not there, let me go ahead and say this, even if they said in the research they're not quite sure if this is the case, if you're sitting across from your doctor and you're telling your doctor that something is wrong, that you feel like maybe your thyroid is wrong, they should listen to that. I know that's insane for me to say, because that's not how we practice. In our office, we listen. If I do labs and everything comes back, crystal clear, and you're still not well, then there's something wrong. So what happens is 2 things. Number one, the doctors aren't listening. They're not listening that something is wrong. And listen, I'll go ahead and tell you this, because I've been a patient, and I've gone to doctors when I was a student, and I've said to doctors like, hey, something's not right, and they'll look at me and they'll say, well, all your labs look okay. And I'd be like, but I'm not well. And they say, what do you want? The thing is this, they're not listening. You know something is wrong. And so what you have to do as a patient, what you have to do for your own health, this isn't everyone, but especially for your thyroid health, is you have to fire them or tell them exactly what you need. You need to be your own patient advocate, because when I was a patient, the crazy thing was I did all of my research where I got to the point where I went to a medical doctor that worked with me, right? That said, hey, fine, what do you want? And I was teaching him about what to do with my health. So you have to be knowledgeable. I understand that, like, you know, learning and understanding your thyroid, it can be really overwhelming. It can feel like, hey, I don't even know where to begin. You begin just looking at functional levels. You begin looking at what free T4 is, what free T3 is. You follow me, you watch my videos, you come in to see me. So the biggest thing is this: there is more involved to your thyroid health than just thyroid synthroid. And a lot of people don't feel well in that. So I just want to encourage you guys that, you know, there's different steps that if you haven't found out, hey, this is what caused it, like my gut caused Hashimoto's, or toxicity caused, you know, my nodules in my thyroid, or my liver is sluggish. I have a lot of people that don't understand that having a fatty liver is also associated with having low hormones, and low vitamin D3 also is linked up with having low hormones. So we're going to get back here and we're going to talk about the digestive system, liver, and your ovaries are going to contribute and also be influenced by dysfunctional thyroid.
To speak with the doctors, that's 267-1023.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Wellness Radio. You're here with Dr. Rebecca Warren. We're local here to Chattanooga, and we do virtual health coaching all over the U.S. And so today we're talking about why finally getting a dysfunctional thyroid diagnosed doesn't mean you're going to get well. Why? Because once you find out that your thyroid is the problem of why you're not able to lose weight, why you feel sluggish, why you feel like your hair is falling out, your skin's changing, you're suffering with anxiety, depression, pain, once they figure that all out, the answer is to just, instead of saying, how can we allow your body to produce more hormones, they say, let me give you hormones. And what that ends up doing is, number one, it takes the power away from you being able to see your body get well and heal itself. Number two, it makes you a pharmaceutical patient for the rest of your life. And number three, it sets you up to have more health issues. So what, where do you begin? Like, where do you even look at? First of all, look at your stinking labs. I'll go ahead and tell you this. I have people come in and they'll bring me my labs and they're like, well, my doctor says I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then I show them. I had someone in the office that had been seeing this doctor for 8 years, and she was getting better, but there was something that was like, she wanted to go deeper. So she came into my office and she sat down with me and she wanted me to look at her labs, and she was saying, hey, like, these are all the labs that I've gotten down. You know, she became a practice member, so I'm coaching her. And so I tell her, I was like, listen, we need these labs. I was like, you're missing, there's a total of 6 different labs that I need you to look at. And there's even like 12 total if you want to go even deeper into overall health that can influence your thyroid. And she went and got these labs, and she came back and she had thyroid antibody levels. So her TPO levels were like 100. And I think that upper limit is like 30. I don't go by their limits. I don't go by medical limits. I go by your antibodies should be 0. They should be as close to 0 as possible. So hers was like 100. The other one was like 600. And I looked at her and I go, your body has been beating itself up year after year. I go, are you seriously telling me that this has never been tested? She goes, it's never been tested. And she goes, and my doctor gave me a hard time. He said I didn't need this. And I looked at her and I kind of rolled my eyes, and she was like, listen, I'm not a medical doctor. I am a doctor of chiropractic. I do functional wellness. I don't treat symptoms. I look at the body. And I know one thing, that if you have a thyroid disorder and your body is actively attacking your thyroid is going to get worse. If I told you that in the streets, like, hey, if your body was beating up your organ, do you think it'll get better or worse? You'd be like, of course, worse. And you're going with your hormone issue, living with that every single day, getting worse, and not looking into that. So the first step is to look at your, labs. TSH by itself, TSH total T4 or TSH and free T4, that's not enough. The only reason they check T4 is because the most popular drug on the market right now is Thyroid, which is a T4 only. So of course they only want to check what they're going to prescribe. But the crazy thing is this: if your thyroid is off, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you're going to have some gut issues to heal your gut. You're going to have some liver issues to heal your liver. You just got to love on and to get down to the cause with your body. But the crazy thing is this: T4 has to be converted to T3. T4 is not the active hormone. And that's crazy. If you guys go back to your labs and you don't feel well and you feel off, go back, ask for your labs, just look at it, and you'll see that you probably don't have T3. And if you have T3, a lot of doctors don't even go by the right limits, okay? So here you are, this doctor's just checking T4, but T4 has to go to the liver and it has to go to the gut. A majority of it is in the liver and then some in the gut to become T3. T3 is what's going to make you lose weight. T3 is going to make you feel great. T3 is going to help you lose weight and balance your hormones. And yet, what happens if your digestive system is sluggish? What can cause a sluggish digestive system? If you've ever used antibiotics, a lot of beauty products, bad fat like canola and margarine and, what's the other one? Vegetable oil. All of these things, a lot of sugar makes your gut lining inflamed. So if you've ever been exposed to any of that, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, your digestive system isn't the best that it can be. And so you're not going to be absorbing the medication right, or, converting it, converting the T4, even if you're producing it, you're not going to be converting it very well because your digestive system is off. And your liver is your biggest detox organ in your body, but it gets overwhelmed. That's why even common medications like Tylenol and things like that, when you're using them chronically, can just common medications can wreck your liver. A lot of sugar can wreck your liver. So here's your liver, here's your gut. And so if you're just doing T4 and you're depending on these organs that are just feeling overwhelmed, you're not going to convert it very well. And your T4 can look beautiful, and your TSH can look great, and your T3 look like crap. Okay? And so the other thing too is antibody numbers. If you don't have your antibody numbers in regards, that means you have an autoimmune reaction. I've had people come into my office and say, I have Hashimoto's, and they've never been tested for the antibody numbers. Or if they have, I had one guy who consistently every year got his antibody numbers tested and nothing was done with it. I mean, it was insane. His antibody numbers were through the roof. And it's like, well, of course you're still not getting well. So you have to look at your labs. You got to see what's going on with T4, free T3, TPO, thyroglobulin antibodies, and reverse T3. And I bet a majority of you guys don't have, you're missing a majority of those. So that's the first step, is for you to understand that you're not getting the right labs and they're not being read properly. And so, I just want to let you guys know, especially if you're local, even if you're not local, we're here on Facebook, Doctors Warren. We have people that we coach all over the U.S. Guys, this is what we do in our office. And so I'm very passionate about this because my motto is to bring hope in the hopeless. I like to bring some light in the dark. I like, this is what I do for fun, is I read thyroid research. I know, weird. But after the kids go to sleep, I might, go into PubMed and look at some stuff. But I want to make sure that in any circumstance where it feels like there is no answer, that there can be an answer. Because I'll go ahead and tell you what, science and medicine will always try to keep up with what God has already created. And the problem is we think that our body is this broken down machine, when in actuality it is telling us something with our symptoms. So if you guys are listening to this, if you have a wife, a daughter that's having hormone issues, sex hormone issues, thyroid hormone issues, guys, we have 2 appointments left. You can do either a virtual consult, we can do it online, or you can come into our office, and the whole appointment is to get down to the cause. What's going on with your labs? What's going on with your health issue? What's going on with your neural function? What's going on with nutrition? What's going on with toxicity? And the first time, actually get down to the cause. So we have 2 appointment times left for this hour and less. We have like 30 minutes now. So give Mary Beth the call. That number is 423-362-5360. Again, 423-362-5360. So let's say you get all of your labs done. That's always a very eye-opening situation when you finally realize that no wonder, like you kind of get like justified in how you've been feeling. And I knew it. I knew this was right. Let me go and tell you this. I will say this, guys, you want to hire your practitioner for their clinical expertise. Just because someone's an endocrinologist doesn't mean they're an expert. Just because they go to Vanderbilt doesn't mean there's an expert. It's really funny. A few weeks ago during the morning show, they were talking about vaccines, and my Dr. Nathan called in and he was talking about how, like, hey, we have to follow the money. And one of the hosts on the show was talking about, oh, well, this doctor out of Vanderbilt, he is the leading expert on disease, and he says that everyone should get vaccinated. And Dr. Nathan said, hey, I bet if I follow the money, we got to make sure that there's no money there. And then we go and look up at this guy's thing, and he's worked for every single pharmaceutical company that creates vaccines. Why is it that there's so many people that are in Thyroid, and yet there's so many resources that say that people can feel better on a natural desiccated thyroid hormone? You've got to follow the money. I mean, there's a website, I'll tell you guys this, and I'll post it on our Facebook page, but there's a website called ProPublica, Publica, ProPublica, and you can actually look up medical doctors and how much money they've been paid through pharmaceutical companies. And the crazy thing is that's not even going to be absolutely accurate, but you'll start to see, heck, you can even look up your own doctor and see what's on there. But guys, this is the thing. You've got to look at what you need for your body. I will say this. There's a lot of people that feel really great on natural desiccated thyroid hormone. There's a smaller population that might feel well on Thyroid, but you have to know what your hormone labs look like, and you have to get down to the cause. So of course you want to balance your hormones. You have to look at the gut, because that's where it's going to be absorbed and converted, and you have to look at the liver. That's where it's going to be absorbed and converted. Let me go ahead and tell you the big thing that I see in my office. Guys, I coach girls like in their 20s, I have people 30s, 40s. I have groups of people in every decade of life. And the crazy thing is that I keep seeing a consistent thing with thyroid here. These are the 5 things I see. Thyroid dysfunction, sex hormone issues, so cycle issues, menopausal issues, digestive issues, gallbladder issues, and then chronic fatigue. I see those 5, and when someone comes in, I say, hey, this is what I see, and they're really surprised. Like, how do you know that? I know that because I see enough people that are not getting well, and if you're not getting well, a sick body will continue to break down. But a thing that pops up a lot is toxicity. And I know a lot of people get overwhelmed, and let me go and tell you, my biggest pet peeve is for someone to say, well, there's chemicals everywhere. Well, no, duh, but you're not going to leave here and like drink straight mercury, are you? It's not all the stinking same. But this is a really big deal for women, because hormone disruptors are everywhere. They're everywhere. And the thing is, it's been wrecking women's hormone health, and guess what, men? It's coming to you, because toxins don't care whether you're male or female. They're going to go in there, they're going to wreck your endocrine system, and now you have low T. And now your prostate numbers are out of control. And now all of a sudden you have prostate cancer. Why? Because we're being exposed to chemicals that are causing inflammation within our cells. It's making our cells sick. And then we are wrecking our hormones. A lot of the chemicals that we're being exposed to mimic estrogen. So if we have high levels of this fake type of estrogen that mimics estrogen because of things that we're exposed to, guess what it's going to do to testosterone? It's going to shoot it straight down. Guess what it's going to do to progesterone? It's going to wreck it all out. And so here, an answer for men is to just inject with testosterone, but no one ever gets down to the cause and all the side effects with that. And then women, you get put on birth control, you get put on thyroid medication, and when you're ready, we can just cut out your uterus. And as some people say, oh, but they saved my ovaries. They still cut out a vital organ in your body. And it doesn't, listen, I'll tell you this, whether you've had surgery like that or not, there's still so much room for improvement. There's so much room to feel well. I had my thyroid cut out at 19 years old, and I can tell you this, not just because I coach and I help people in my office and virtually, because this is what I live. Listen, if you've had a vital organ cut out, you've got to understand that you have to live in a way to support your body. It's like missing a limb. Like, I get it, maybe medical doctors don't think it's that important, but it is important, because if you didn't need it, you wouldn't be born with it. Hello, gallbladder and appendix. I don't care, science knows 100%, even though there's new studies that say why the appendix is important. But the thing is this, whether you are there or, you know, you've already had it done, you've got to support the body in a way that it's going to balance out and it's going to heal. Another thing with thyroid issues that starts popping up is that I'm seeing a lot of nodules. I've had a few people in my office where I look at their toxicity history and I'm like, have you ever had, you know, an ultrasound on your thyroid? Have you ever had your thyroid checked? And they're like, no. And I say, hey, if you get your thyroid checked, you're going to have nodules. And I had someone just recently, again, she went and got it checked and she was like, you were right. I'm like, I know I'm right, because toxins cause your cells to replicate. You can go on PubMed, you can look at it. I see it happen. That's how I can help people with their thyroid. You know, they see changes with their thyroid growth. The doctors are amazed. But toxins will cause cells to begin to reproduce at really fast levels. And so here you have nodules, here you have thyroid growth, and then what do they say? They say, let's cut it out. That's what happened to me. Let's cut it out. But guess what? You still have those toxins in your body. So guess what they do to your sex hormones? They wreck it. Guess what they do to your digestive system? They wreck it. They wreck your body. And then finally, Alzheimer's and dementia. The same toxins that destroy your thyroid are the same toxins that destroy your brain. And I'm not telling you to go out today and be afraid of everything, because let me go ahead and tell you, Tennessee, apparently they have a bunch of microplastic in the water. I have people that say, how could I have these toxins? Well, it's in the water, it's in your teeth. You have fillings in your teeth that are 51% mercury, unstable mercury. You know, you can get it from vaccines. There's aluminum in there. You can get it from your beauty product. There's all these things you can get exposed to. So the point isn't to just freak out and say, oh, well, I'm going to die. You know, like, and I had people that say that, you know, like some older men, they're just like, well, you know, I'm just going to die anyways. Listen, there's things far worse than death, and that's suffering. And more, even worse than that, is your family having to see you suffer. So the point isn't to just go and just like freak out about all the toxins. It's about removing burden. It's about supporting your body so your body can naturally detox, and so that your body can then heal itself. So what does that mean? You have a bucket your whole life of how much you can handle. And once that bucket is full, you overflow, you know, with symptoms. And so right now you're walking up a hill with a backpack full of rocks, and you're taking a pill hoping that it's going to give you more energy to run up this hill when you have all these rocks in your bags. Take out a rock with toxicity. Take out another rock with your digestive health. Take out another rock with your liver health. Take out a rock, you know, with your cortisol levels. All of these things, you start to see that your body heals. You start to see that your body changes. And so we're about to go on a break here. I want to let you guys know, if the first time tuning in, I know this is our first time really back at being here regularly. You can go to our Facebook page, like and follow Drs. Warren. I am live, so you can come back and listen to this video. And guys, I haven't heard yet from my office manager. If you want an appointment time, you can make it for yourself. You can make it for your wife, your husband, your daughter. I've heard it all. Guys, we had 2 last time I checked. But call, make yourself an appointment. I would love to sit down with you and actually get down to the calls. That includes all necessary testing and imaging in office. You can give Mary Beth a call. That number is 423-362-5360. Again, that's 423-362-5360. This is Wellness Radio. We'll see you right after the break. All right, guys. So we talked about, you know, all these different areas that are going to be influenced by thyroid dysfunction, and then also all these different areas that are going to influence your thyroid. Okay, just making sure. So, you know, what you have to do is you have to actually get down to the cause. You have to understand, like, listen, if I'm not getting well, why am I not getting well? You have to understand that it's not because your body has failed you, okay? So, big thing, first step is look at your labs, look at TSH, look at free T4, look at free T3, look at thyroid antibodies, look at vitamin D3, look at iodine levels, look at, You know, look at those labs that are going to be iron, you know, iron and ferritin. Those are going to be so important for you guys to look at, to know exactly what's going on. You can test your cortisol levels as well. And so I'm actually going to wrap up this show this evening because my phone is about to die, and I hate when it cuts me off. So we're going to blame Dr. Nathan on that, because I asked him if I should bring a charger, and he said no, I should be fine, and yet my phone's about to die. So if you guys are watching this and you've made it to this point and you're like, hey, I would like to have a printout or a document or something about the proper labs that I should be asking my doctor for, or if you need someone to order your labs, that's what I do as well. Shoot me a message here on Facebook, on Doctors Warren, and let me know that you would like my important thyroid labs ebook, and I will have, you know, one of our team members in the office send you that your way to your email so you can start moving in the right direction. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.